Hello and welcome to It's our grand return after 2 months of hiatus. Here is ye old mug.
That's right.
Now, today, we will ease back into our podcast like a nice, greased up leather gimp suit by talking about Invincible.
Please never do that again, whatever that was.
If Archer's real identity is exposed to him too suddenly, his mind may reject it permanently. We have to ease him back into it, like a latex gimp suit.
And how do you suggest we do that?
Well, some people use baby powder, but I'm a firm believer in cornstarch.
Not the gimp suit. Sterling's amnesia.
But
I mean, it can't be weirder than what you were telling me before this podcast, all right?
No, let's stop. Is
Okay,
that really how we're gonna start?
I could get in.
Oh
I could get
my
into
God.
some nice Omni-Man, immortal fucking. You know what I mean? But Jesus, you told me that the Invincible fandom is into Omni-Man and William. Sir,
That's not even the weirdest. Okay,
Sir.
That's not even the weirdest one. The weirdest one is the Omni-Man and Mark shippers. That's the weirdest one. Okay, don't get me started. I saved you. You know what?
This has brought us full circle because we started the Moral Limits podcast by talking about how weird the Rey and Kylo shippers were. Remember?
True.
Yeah.
Way back when, ancient history now.
Yep.
So that turned out to be canon. Oh my God.
What's hilarious is like, okay. You know, we all thought that it was like Han Solo's daughter or like Luke's like whatever. You know what I mean? But it turning out to be Palpatine.
Yeah.
Dude, that was like
They literally only did it to save it from the incest. That's what it was for.
People are so... It's still incest, though.
What?
Yeah.
Who's related to Palpatine? I'm sorry.
Anakin. Palpatine made Anakin through the midichlorians. There is no father. Someone manipulated that, and who wanted an apprentice? But Palpatine. This has nothing to do with Invincible.
No, but it's good lore.
Good lore. Good Alabamian lore. But... Alright, Jesus. What did you think of Invincible? Broadly. Let's go throughout the show. Let's not start at the end.
Yeah.
Because that's the payload.
Yeah, that this isn't the Tenet podcast. We don't mix it up that way. So going into it, I was a little hesitant because you know, you recommend me things, and sometimes they're amazing, and sometimes they're not, and it just do be like that. You know, Boys Season 2 was, Boys Season 1 was really good. You know, sometimes things just kind of happen. Watching was really good, you know, but this one, fuck. 3 episodes in, I was fucking hooked. So hooked that I couldn't wait for you to show me more.
Why were you hooked?
Okay. All right. I was setting it up, but I mean, if you want to cut to the chase,
you just go, you go like, I just liked like 3 episodes. That's fucking failure on a 3rd grade book report.
No. I'm sorry. I know you don't understand this, but I'm creating a story. I'm investing the audience.
A shitty story.
I have this thing called the gift of gab. Okay, you know, I weave a story into my lecture.
I have never
Invincible.
heard someone say they have the gift of gab in a positive way. It's more like they have the gift of not shutting the fuck up.
All right. So, the thing that instantly hooks you from episode 1 is Mark.
Yeah.
Mark is a fantastic character, and he's set up really fucking well in that first episode. You understand what he wants. You understand his fears. There's probably my favorite moment in episode 1 comes between Mark and his mom. It's when he's training out on the lawn, and you have like this moment where he's like, he tells his mom, because she tells him, you know, go back to bed, and he says, make me. And she has this moment of like, does that make you feel strong? That is like beautiful, and it shows you her history, and it shows you where Mark could be heading but he has his mom there to like push him back, and it's like this beautiful moment. That's the moment that sold me on Mark and his mom's relationship. All of that is fucking beautiful.
That's a real like bitch, sit down, be humble moment.
True,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
That's like
it's fucking it's so good, man.
And it's that real Lois Lane quality of understanding why you know, she can stand toe to toe with Omni-Man in a marriage. You know what I mean? 'Cause you imagine like similar situations of probably a rung where he's just like no, and she's just like no, and it was like.
Yeah, there's even great moments. I think somewhere around episode 2 or 3, between her and Omni-Man, where you see some of that. So like he beats up a big kaiju, and she says, "Yeah, and I'm awesome too because I sold a house that had a double homicide in it."
Yeah, she's a really fleshed out character.
Yeah. I feel that confidence, and I really like that because it's not very often that you see a love interest for a superhero that feels like their own person. You know?
And she has throughout the entire season this like agency and this investigation of trying to figure out what the fuck happened. But not to just ignore all this fucking shade you threw at me. Like, oh, I don't know if it's gonna be good because he also showed me Boy Season 2. Ooh. No, Jesus. Okay, see, I had similar worries. Like, Jesus is afraid, like, oh man, Stewart's gonna show me some shit. I'm afraid. Because this cynical asshole, like, I don't know. Like, me and him, we got drunk at my dad's funeral, and I'm just like, do I show him Invincible? Or is he going to be wrong about it like Captain Marvel? Is he going to be wrong about it like Game of Thrones Season 8? Who knows? But then he sits down, and he watches it, and I pass out drunk. And then I wake up, and Jesus is like, Omni-Man's an asshole. And I'm like, yes. But I don't know why. I don't know what part he's at. I'm like, they're at a volcano. Yes.
Yeah.
He is mysteriously an asshole.
True. So the thing is, before I was rudely interrupted, I was going to say I couldn't wait. You know, once we finished 3 episodes, and then, you know, I don't have access to Amazon Prime, so I found through my own inner workings, I summoned the devil. My
wife logged in on his phone with her Amazon Prime.
I got a new phone. Shut the fuck up. I had to make a deal with the devil to get Amazon Prime, but I got it, and then I watched it in one fucking day, on one sitting. 5 fucking hours. I watched the rest of those episodes.
You are a fake lefty. Like endorsing Jeff Bezos.
Get out of here.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos isn't even the guy anymore. He's been replaced. But regardless, I was hooked. It's just, it's so good. And one thing
so you're hooked by the first 3 episodes, and then you're hooked by everything else.
Yes, I mean it gets better.
Yeah.
That's the real truth of it. I think that you know, you don't realize initially who, like, just some of the fucking standout characters that get it, like, it developed as the season goes on. Like, Eve, man, she started off like, she's okay, I guess, she's there, she exists, and then, holy shit, her fucking arc with Rex, with her parents, everything, her, like, identity that she finds in saving people, not just being the hero, but, like, going out there and doing the... and the way that Mark just kind of fundamentally misunderstands even what she's doing, the way he devalues it, it's so good.
Yeah, so not only does it have, like, an amazing lead character with Mark, very, like, evocative of, like, the old, like, Static Shock, you know what I mean? That was where I was just, like, hooked. I was like, okay, this has a great main character, it's gonna be a good show. But as it goes on, you first notice how good of a character Adam Eve is, right? But then, I would say the third character that really stands out is Robot.
Yeah.
And, like, dude.
So, okay. I don't know how much you want to go into spoilers and just kind of, like...
This is a spoiler podcast.
Okay. Not a spoiler podcast. So, here's the thing. And this is, like, this isn't related to his quality. I'm really fucking curious. So, what is his thought process when he copies Rex's DNA? So, is this a situation where Monster Girl is attracted to Rex, and that's why he chooses it?
I think it's because she's like she showed physical interest in Rex physically.
So that's what I was confused about, because I was under the assumption that the reason that they got along so well is because he's just... Oh, and this might be a controversial opinion. I think it's actually fucking funny. I love Rex. Yeah, I love Rex.
Yeah, so here's the thing.
He's not a good person.
Yeah, no.
He's a huge asshole.
Yeah, I mean, just because of how much I liked Adam Eve, I was very turned off to him initially. Yeah. But he is fucking hilarious. So it's like, I mean, you do get hooked on by it. Yeah. And there's always like a check to, you know, his assholeness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's an asshole to Monster Girl, but then she fucking, like, checks him. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. I get the feeling that, like, beforehand, there might not have been a check because Eve is definitely not a check.
Yeah.
But as we see like later on, he kind of it's where his development takes him. It's like he mellows out because he has those checks, you know.
Well, and not only that, but
Girl,
he also acknowledges the responsibility, the weight of being the new Guardians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But mentioning Adam Eve, that is my. There has been criticism on the quality of the animation of the show, and the only time, if I were to like round this down, back to like an actual, I would probably give this show like a 99 out of 100 for like one reason, and it's this. Okay, when you see Adam Eve in 90% of the shots, the logo on her chest, it's the female symbol, and it looks like an X.
Yeah, it looks like it's crossed out.
So it's just like, is she like an anti-feminist? Like, what the fuck? That's like the initial thing that springs to mind. But then like, there is like maybe one or two like close-up shots where it shows it's the atom circle.
Yes, it's supposed to be an atom.
It's like that. It's not even so much about fluid animation. A lot of them are still shots where it just looks like an X. But I think that
so a little more attention to detail would have been beneficial.
Yeah, more curvature, something. But yeah, that's my only problem with the entire show. So when me and Jesus clash on qualities later, that's why. But
it's such a small thing. I think
it is, but it's weird.
Is that really enough to give a percentage off? Like, I mean, that's crazy.
Okay, like, is it enough to take a star off of a 5-star rating? No. If you're talking about 100 and you're talking about 1, yeah, I think it's fine.
Fine. I mean,
because it still rounds up to a fucking 5.
I mean, okay, let me ask you something. Would you say that Jurassic Park is 100?
No.
So then what about that inconsistency with like the height, you know, on that one scene, you know what I'm talking about, right? With where the T-Rex comes from?
That's a 99. It rounds up.
Okay. Okay, whatever. I don't even care anymore. Fine. Because that's not even like the things to fight about. Let's gush some more before we get into that. I think if episode 8 does anything, it makes Omni-Man like the best villain. It's just it's unreal. It is like Omni-Man's a cool character, and his whole shtick for the entire season is like, what's going on? There's hints and there's pieces, but for the most part, you don't really understand who he is and why he does what he does. And then it all comes out, and it's so good. Like, I really love this idea of like this all-powerful, almost immortal being who's just like, he values human life the way that essentially we value our pets. There's an appreciation there. There's maybe a certain level of love, but it's not as an equal. He just doesn't see it that way. Yeah. And not to validate it, but to be fair, from a certain perspective, I can see it. You know. Yeah. You understand, like, you outlive them by hundreds of years. It's that
different species barrier, you know. Yeah. It's the reason why you don't respect a chicken. You know what I mean?
And even if it was, because like if something is within like reasonable, like, so something it approximates a human shape and is about as squishy and fragile as humans are, I think you could form a legitimate like connection there.
Well, that's why he can form like a pseudo marriage. But I mean,
but I think when you're as powerful and as
ageless,
it's almost impossible. Yeah. And the age-old question that I have to ask is, does sex even feel like anything for him?
Ask William.
Don't do that.
No. Invincible fans are trash.
Like, does it though? Like, because he can't actually go all out. Nowhere near, right? So...
I don't feel good for him, probably. Is it
probably just not... Is it nothing? It's
maybe
like,
that's
what's even the point?
That's why he has so much aggression built up. He's just fucking mad. He can't nut.
Why? What is the point of anything?
I mean, that's why there's a character in the Boys comic book where he literally...
Fucks a meteorite?
Fucks a meteor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's what Omni-Man's doing. He just goes to fucking Mount Everest and just fucking pounds.
Maybe the immortal Omni-Man shippers are right. Maybe that's where he goes, like a midnight booty call, you know? Maybe.
That's why he was so mad. He was so hurt.
He was like, hurt. He was like, you traitor!
Yep.
Anyway,
before we get into any sort of disagreements with the Mark Amber situation, the clones.
Yes.
Fucking amazing.
Standout villains, definitely.
And that's why I really liked, let's talk a little bit about structure this season. It's perfection in the way that we don't have these 2-part episodes, these like little arcs that we need to like wait episode. By having these be like hour-long episodes, each story feels very self-contained, builds upon the larger narrative, and when they have there's so many like narratively useful scenes they have, right? Because it's like you need to show the Guardians in their prime to show you why Guardians are important, you know what I mean? And instead of just having like some villain who doesn't matter, they have the clones as the villain for that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's absolutely true. And I really appreciate the way that they're utilized with Robot's story.
Yeah.
Like, you were totally right when you told me way back when. The way that they bounce off of each other is fucking perfect.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's like, and I love how, like, it's almost like a match of one-upmanship, you know? Robot comes in, and he, like, you know, promises that he gets them out of prison first off, and then they, you know, do their own shit.
That broke my heart when the one clone threw the other clone. I was like, no, you can't do that.
That's illegal. And then he promises them the payment if they just do what he asks. They instill all of those little, like, you know, safety nets, like the toxins and everything in his body. He figures it out almost instantly, gets it out. Like there's like this game of like who is smarter, and then I mean it's scientifically proven when they're actually fucking cloning him, because I've never seen neurons this thick. that's a beautiful line. Yeah. Like I love the interplay between them, and I really appreciate. I'm gonna be real. I thought Robot's just gonna be a villain. I thought his arc was going to be when he took the DNA from Rex. I thought he didn't like Rex's loud attitude, so he was gonna clone him and make him more subservient or something.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah. But I know that's what's really great about the show is, you know, there's a lot of times where you're like, oh, Cecil's gonna be like a bad dude, or the devil dude's gonna be a Dark Blood. You know what I mean?
Dark Blood, yeah, Damien Darkblood.
Damien Darkblood's so fucking amazing.
Amazing character.
But that's the thing is, like, everyone, including Omni-Man, has this like shade of gray, right? This complexity.
Yeah.
He's not just a Nazi. You know what I mean? Like, he does care about Mark. That's like the one redeeming quality of him. You know what I mean?
It's not. So his relationship with Mark, I think, is indicative of like a certain level of like humanity, like an understanding of like, because I think that speech that Debbie gives him on the baseball field, that idea of like as life goes on and as like life wears down on you, you kind of live through your child's bright, optimistic, new experiences, the way they appreciate life, and their happiness becomes yours. I think he really does embody. I think that's very poignant about like the way that he views Mark and why he can't just start over with a new kid, because Mark is him, you know, it's his kid. And I like to hope that maybe that's indicative of his ability to come back and betray his race and kind of go against that to like for not just Mark, but maybe for humanity and everything. But I don't know.
Look, that's the thing about like stories is a good story could go either way and still be good. You know what I mean? Yeah. We could have a Omni-Man redemption arc, or we could have an Omni-Man that like still goes through. You know what I mean? And you're just like, fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's hard.
Kind of like Jamie in season 8, where when like you want him to stay with Brienne, but then he was like, yeet. You know what I mean? This isn't Game of Thrones. We can talk about it. We can talk it. No. We can talk about it. We can spoil season 8 because this isn't Westeros.
Sure, whatever. I understand the concept. Yeah, Jamie, whatever. Point is,
Jesus won't fucking face me. Fucking runs.
We're not there at the podcast yet. This is not that podcast.
Beta.
The point is that I do hope that there's some kind of a story there of some form of redemption, and it's not left to that's what I want.
Yeah, I want Omni-Man as like a long-term villain. You know what I mean?
if he can have like he doesn't need to. I don't expect him, and I also don't expect anyone to forgive him. So I don't expect him to become like one of the good guys. But like, it's more complex, and I think that's what I want to see in like later seasons developed. But he's not the only villain that's set up in this first season. There's tons of them. The fucking like weird apocalyptic squid monsters. The seismic exploder bracelet guy that has like an army of molten golems.
Same voice as Donald, dude from Silicon Valley.
Really?
Yep.
Amazing.
Earthquakes, fuck.
There's another one that I'm forgetting.
Continue.
There's another one that I'm forgetting, and but there's the fucking crime boss. I don't remember the actual guy's name, but I remember Isotope.
That whole
all of that
whole arc, that whole storyline.
That was probably my favorite mini arc of the side character arc thing of the entire season.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I so good.
Again, very narratively useful. It's just like, you run into that concrete villain earlier. He comes back later.
Yeah.
The show very well could have just like one and done. But there's such a utility to leaving these characters alive so they come back and bite you in the ass later. You know what I mean? Like, even Ezra Miller's character is taken in and then used by Cecil later. You know what I mean? So...
And then you even have like a potential character, and this has to be, other than Omni-Man, the most powerful character in the universe. It's the Catman.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, Omni-Man could beat the shit out of Mark to the point of like, bleeding and blood. Like, he is fucked up. But Catman nearly fucking tore him in half.
Yeah.
He tore his body and like... The amount of power that would need... Because I assume that Mark is as invincible as he's ever going to be. Maybe he has, like, a little bit more to go, but, like, ultimately, like, he has strength to build up, but in terms of, like, his physical body, it's as sturdy as it's going to be. I imagine he's like a full Viltrumite.
Yeah.
So, like, the power in that fucking Catman needs to be immense, and I would love to see what they do with him, because... I doubt they're going to waste him on just, like, a one-and-done kind of scene.
Yeah.
And I wonder how he even came, like, wrapped up it... Because, like, his whole thing was, like, looking for a worthy opponent. I wonder how the fucking machine head, like, convinced them to come over. Like, what that... All of that fucking... Oh, I can't wait.
I think we'll kind of wrap that for now. And, what we all agreed on the positives of the show. I'll stop the recording, start a new one, and we will get into